and maybe switch it to chase cam for the first couple of slower laps, and then for cockpit for the fast lap, attempted first lap. So I'll come to T1 next time round again. So approaching T2, you should be in 5th gear. I'm looking for this bit of orange marking on the side, on the fence, just before the bridge here. To start my braking, down to 2nd gear. I take a sort of widest line into the... It's also essential that you come off the brakes really smoothly into this corner, and you're accelerating very smoothly out of it. Up to 3rd, I pop it up to 4th briefly, and then drop it to 3rd about here for the turn-in. The only reason I go up to 4th and drop it to 3rd is when you drop down a gear, I find you get a slightly better turn-in. So I'm in 3rd for this one. You want to be on the power as soon as you can, right out, using as much of the green stuff as you want. Up to 5th, I'm looking sort of between the 50 marker and the start of the curving on the outside. Start my braking down to 3rd. Got to be very patient with this corner. So you're sort of off throttle, on the throttle, apexing right where that line was. Once you get that apex perfectly, you can power out pretty hard. Up to 6th gear, I'm looking for the 50 metre board. Down to 5th, turning in hard. When you get the apex, then you can power it out. Again, it's just being patient. Looking for that orange bit of marking on the fence on the outside there. That's what I use as my reference point. Drop it to 4th. I'm sort of off throttle, turning in, and then I'm looking to catch that bit of curbing on the inside, maybe a bit more. As soon as you've caught it, you can power out. I usually end up coming out to about that sort of position, half the car off the curb, half the car on the green stuff. Up to 5th, I'm looking for the 50 metre board. I drop it to 4th, turn in early. You can try taking as much of that as you can. Leave it in 4th, down to 3rd here. Let the car roll into the apex, take as much of the curb as you can, power out. Up to 5th, looking for the 50 metre board, down to 4th, turn in as early as you possibly can. And on the power as soon as possible. I'm looking for the 100 metre board for T1, just after it, down to 4th, turning in hard. Again, it's patient, just waiting to get to the apex, then powering out, using as much of that on the outside as you can. Down to 2nd, smoothly off the brake, smoothly on the throttle. Up to 3rd, 4th briefly, braking down to 3rd, get it turned in and power out on the apex. Up to 4th, up to 5th, between the 50 and the curbing, down to 3rd. Got to be patient getting it in, that's the apex. Once you're there, the camber should hold you on that corner and power it out. Flat out. Looking for the 50 metre board, dab a brake, down to 5th, turn in hard, and as soon as you get an apex, power out hard. Looking for the orange bit of fence, down to 4th, back on the throttle as early as possible. Up to 5th, looking for the 50, down to 4th, turn it in, power out. 50 metre board, down to 3rd, let it roll into the apex, power out. And down to 4th for this one, early turn in, and then power out again. And now I'll try it fast and probably make a mess of it again. Ouch! And I'll say that is the corner I do have most problems with. So it's better to take it easier and smoother than try and do world records every time you go out.
Yeah, it's a killer corner, is that? I mean, it's got such a heavy camber, it almost seems like banking, and you will always get oversteer through it. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of those you don't want to turn too much. Quite often make the mistake of turning into it too much. Just let the camber do the work. Try and get the car naturally to come right out to the other side of the curbing.
Yeah, and it's a deceptive corner because it looks relatively easy to everything else that you've just been through, but it pretty much always catches you out if you're not careful. Thanks for that walkthrough, Stuart. That was great stuff.
That setup that I posted, if people find it too understeery, you can always stiffen up the rear anti-roll bar. Takes a little bit of the understeer out, but also obviously makes the rear end a little more nasty in places. You're welcome, guys. Cat's the one to thank her. She started all this.
I'll try and lend more of a hand next week.